The morning sun cast long shadows through the broken windows of Seoul Station. Captain Taemin crawled out from beneath a pile of concrete and steel that had been his shelter for 3 days. His military uniform was torn and dirty. Blood had dried on his forehead from a cut he received during the last battle 6 months ago. He looked up at the sky and saw them. The massive alien ships hung in the air like dark clouds that never moved. Their smooth metal surfaces reflected no light. The ships had been there since the day everything changed. The day humanity lost the war in just 72 hours. Taemin remembered that day clearly. The aliens came without warning. No radio signals. No messages. No demands. They simply appeared in the sky above every major city on Earth. Within minutes, every military base, every government building, every communication tower was destroyed. The aliens used weapons that turned concrete into dust and metal into liquid. The Korean military had tried to fight back. Taemin had led his unit against one of the smaller alien craft. Their bullets bounced off the alien hull like raindrops. Their rockets exploded harmlessly against invisible barriers. In return, the aliens fired once. A beam of purple light swept across his entire battalion. When the light faded, only Taemin remained alive. Now he moved carefully through the ruins of Seoul. The aliens had built processing centers throughout the city. These were large metal buildings where they sorted humans into different groups. Some humans were taken for heavy labor. Others disappeared completely. The lucky ones were left alone if they stayed quiet and caused no trouble. Taemin had learned to avoid the alien patrols. The creatures were tall and thin, with gray skin that looked like metal. They wore no clothing but had machines built into their bodies. Their eyes glowed red and they moved without making any sound. The humans called them Vorthak, though no one knew if that was their real name. As Taemin moved through an abandoned shopping district, he heard voices coming from below. Ground. He found a broken escalator that led down to the subway station. The voices grew louder as he descended into the darkness. At the bottom, he found 4 people sitting around a small fire made from burning newspaper. They looked up in fear when they saw him approach. An older man stood up and raised a metal pipe as a weapon. "Stay back," the man said. His voice shook with fear. "We have nothing you want." Taemin raised his hands to show he meant no harm. "I am Captain Taemin of the Korean Army. I am not here to hurt anyone." A young woman stepped forward. She had short black hair and wore a nurse's uniform that was stained with dirt and blood. "You are really a soldier? We thought all the soldiers were dead." "Most of us are," Taemin replied honestly. "What are your names?" The woman spoke first. "I am Ji-eun. I worked at Seoul National Hospital before the invasion." She pointed to each person as she spoke. "This is Woo-jin. He fixed cars before the aliens came. The young girl is Hae-won. She is only 16. And the older man is Kyung-ho. He was a professor at the university." Woo-jin lowered his pipe but still looked suspicious. "If you are really a soldier, why are you here instead of fighting the aliens?" Taemin sat down near their small fire. The warmth felt good against his cold skin. "I tried to fight them. My whole unit tried. We failed. Every human military on Earth failed. Their technology is too advanced for our weapons." Hae-won, the teenager, had been quiet until now. "My parents were taken to one of the processing centers 3 months ago. I have not seen them since. Every day I think about trying to find them, but I am too scared." "The processing centers are death traps," Kyung-ho said sadly. "I have watched from the shadows. The aliens take humans inside, but very few ever come out. Those who do return are changed. They move differently. They speak differently. It is like they are not human anymore." Ji-eun had been cleaning medical supplies while they talked. "I have seen this too. The returned humans help the aliens find other survivors. They know all our hiding places. They remember our faces, but they show no emotion. No sadness, no anger, nothing." Taemin felt a chill that had nothing to do with the cold air. "You think the aliens are controlling their minds?" "I think they are removing their minds," Kyung-ho replied, "replacing human thoughts with alien commands." They sat in silence for several minutes. The only sound was the crackling of their small fire. Above them, they could hear the distant hum of alien patrol craft moving through the city streets. Wu Jin broke the silence. So what do we do? Hide down here forever? Wait for the aliens to find us eventually? Taemin looked at each of their faces in the firelight. He saw fear, but he also saw something else. Hope. The same hope he had lost after watching his soldiers die. I have been thinking about this for months. We cannot fight them with guns or bombs, but maybe we do not need to. What do you mean? Ji-yoon asked. I have been watching the aliens carefully. They are very logical, very predictable. They patrol the same routes at the same times every day. They respond to threats the same way every time. But humans are different. We are emotional. We are unpredictable. Sometimes we do things that make no logical sense. Haewon leaned forward with interest. You think that could help us? Yesterday, I saw something strange, Taemin continued. A group of humans tried to attack an alien patrol. The aliens adapted to their weapons quickly, just like always. But then something unexpected happened. One of the humans started crying. Not just crying, but screaming with grief and rage. The alien closest to her stopped moving. Its red eyes flickered. For just a moment it seemed confused. Kyung-ho nodded thoughtfully. Intense human emotion might interfere with their technology somehow. It is just a theory, Taemin admitted. But it is the only advantage I can think of. The aliens understand logic and technology. They do not understand human feelings. Wu Jin stood up and began pacing. Even if that is true, how does it help us? We are just 5 people against an entire alien army. We start small, Taemin replied. We find other survivors. We test my theory. We learn how their technology works. And maybe if we are very lucky and very careful, we find a way to fight back. Ji-yoon looked at the others. It sounds dangerous. We could all be killed. We will probably be killed anyway if we just hide, Haewon said quietly. At least this way we might help other people. Kyung-ho put out their fire and began gathering their few possessions. Then we should start tonight. I know where other survivors are hiding. If we are going to do this, we need more people. Taemin felt something he had not experienced in months. Purpose. For the first time since the invasion, he had a mission that might actually matter. The odds were impossible, but that had never stopped humans before. As they prepared to leave the subway station, Taemin looked up toward the surface where the alien ships waited in the darkness. We are coming, he whispered to himself. You may have won the first battle, but the war is not over. 3 weeks had passed since Taemin found his first group of survivors. Now they moved through the dark tunnels beneath Seoul like ghosts. Their small group had grown to 12 people, but finding new survivors was becoming more dangerous every day. The aliens had changed their patrol patterns. They now sent small groups of converted humans to search places where survivors might hide. These changed humans looked normal from a distance, but their eyes were empty. They moved with perfect coordination, like machines wearing human skin. Taemin crouched behind a pile of rubble and watched one of these patrols move through the ruins of a department store. 3 converted humans walked in a straight line, their heads turning left and right at exactly the same angle. They searched with mechanical precision but showed no human curiosity or emotion. They are getting closer to our main hiding place, whispered Wu Jin, who crouched beside Taemin. Soon they will find the others. Taemin nodded grimly. Their group had been hiding in an abandoned subway maintenance tunnel, but it would not stay secret much longer. They needed to find a new base, and they needed more people who could fight. Kyung-ho said there are survivors hiding near Busan. Taemin whispered back. A doctor with important information about the aliens. We need to reach her before the patrols do. The journey to Busan took 4 days of careful travel. They moved, only at night, sleeping in basements and sewers during the day. The alien ships hung motionless in the sky, but their smaller patrol craft swept over the land constantly. On the second night, they rescued 2 more survivors from a collapsed office building. Dong Hyun had been a sergeant in the army, and Sung Ho was a former police officer. Both men were suspicious of Taemin at first. Every group I have joined ended up dead or converted. Donghyun said as they shared a meal of canned food they had found. Why should your group be different? Because we are not just trying to survive, Taemin replied. We are trying to understand how to fight back. Sung-ho laughed bitterly. Fight back? With what? Our guns do nothing to them. Our explosives bounce. Off their ships, they defeated the entire world in 3 days. Not with weapons, Taemin explained. He told them about the crying woman and how the alien had seemed confused by her intense emotion. I think human feelings might affect their technology somehow. The two men exchanged doubtful looks, but they agreed to stay with the group. They had nowhere else to go. In Busan, they found the industrial district mostly abandoned. The aliens had focused their attention on the port area, leaving the old factories and warehouses empty. Kyung-ho led them through streets he remembered from his younger days, when he had studied at the university here. They found Dr. Soonja hiding in the basement of a chemical processing plant. She was a small woman in her 50s with graying hair and intense eyes. When they first approached her, she pointed a makeshift spear at them and demanded they prove they were human. Ask me something only a human would know, she said. Taemin thought for a moment. What do you miss most about life before the invasion? Soonja lowered her weapon. The sound of children laughing in the parks. The aliens have taken all the, children first. They say children adapt to conversion more easily. Her voice broke slightly. Only humans would miss something like that. Soonja had been studying the aliens since the invasion began. Her basement was filled with drawings and notes about their technology and behavior. She had even managed to capture some of their equipment. Look at this, she said, showing them a small device that looked like a metal insect. This is a surveillance drone. I damaged it with electricity from the building's emergency generator. But watch what happens when I get emotional near it. Soonja held the device and began thinking about her family, who had been taken in the first week of the invasion. As tears formed in her eyes, the device began to make strange clicking sounds. Small lights on its surface flickered randomly. Human emotions create some kind of interference, she explained. Their technology is based on pure logic and mathematics. Strong feelings disrupt their systems because emotions cannot be calculated or predicted. This was the proof Taemin had been hoping for. Can we use this to fight them? Maybe, Soonja said carefully. But it would require many people feeling very strong emotions at the same time, and the effect only lasts as long as the emotions remain intense. Over the next week, Soonja taught them everything she had learned about alien technology. The Vorthak used cybernetic implants in their bodies to control their machines. These implants worked by processing information in mathematical patterns. Human emotions created chaos in these patterns. The stronger the emotion, the greater the interference, Soonja explained. Fear, anger, love, grief, all of these can disrupt their systems, but the person must truly feel these emotions. You cannot fake it. They began testing this discovery on captured alien devices. Haewon proved to be especially effective. When she thought about her missing parents, her grief was so powerful that it could shut down alien equipment completely. But the effort left her exhausted and shaking. We need more people, Taemin told the group one evening, and we need to be more organized. The aliens are not going to wait for us to figure this out. Their opportunity came sooner than expected. A group of converted humans attacked their hideout 3 days later. But instead of running, Taemin ordered everyone to focus on their strongest emotions while fighting back. The result was chaos. The converted humans began stumbling and moving erratically as the emotions of Taemin's group interfered with their control implants. For the first time since the invasion, humans won a direct fight against alien forces. But victory came with a cost. The noise of the battle attracted a Vorthak patrol ship. As the purple light of alien weapons began cutting through the walls of the factory, Taemin realized they had learned something important, but dangerous. Run, he shouted to his people. We know how to hurt them now, but we are not ready for a real fight yet. As they escaped through the factory's drainage system, Taemin thought about what they had accomplished. They had proof that humans could fight back. They had a weapon the aliens did not expect. But they also had a new problem. The aliens would now know that some humans had found a way to resist. The war was about to become much more dangerous for both sides. In the darkness of the drainage tunnel, Sunja grabbed Taemin's arm. "There's something else you need to know," she whispered urgently. "I have been monitoring alien communications. They are not just conquering Earth. They are preparing it for something much worse." "What do you mean?" "They are changing our atmosphere. Slowly but constantly. In 2 years, maybe less, the air will no longer support human life. We are not just fighting for freedom anymore. We are fighting for survival of our entire species." Taemin felt a cold fear settle in his stomach. They had discovered how to fight the aliens, but they might already be too late to save their world. Above them, the alien ships hummed in the night sky, working steadily toward the day when humans would no longer be able to breathe the air of their own planet. 2 months had passed since Taemin's group discovered that human emotions could disrupt alien technology. Their small band of survivors had grown into a network of over 200 people spread across 3 cities. But success brought new dangers. The aliens had adapted. They now sent special hunter units to find resistance groups. These new Vorthak soldiers were different from the others. They were smaller and faster, with extra sensors built into their heads. Worst of all, they seemed to track human emotions, themselves. Taemin crouched in the ruins of a shopping mall, watching one of these hunter units search through the debris. The creature moved like a predator, its head tilting as it sensed something in the air. When it found where humans had been hiding, it made a high-pitched sound that called other aliens to the location. "They can smell our feelings," whispered Yuna, a young engineer who had joined their group last week. She was brilliant with machines and had been helping Sunja understand alien technology. "Every time we use emotions to fight them, we leave traces they can follow." This was their biggest problem. The more they used their new weapon, the easier it became for the aliens to find them. In the past month, they had lost 5 different hideouts to hunter units. 37 people had been captured or killed. "We need a better plan," Taemin said as they moved carefully through the mall's back corridors. "Something that lets us hit them hard without giving away our positions." The answer came from an unexpected source. HFY had been having nightmares since the invasion began, but recently, her dreams had become stranger. She claimed she could see through alien eyes when she slept, watching their operations from inside their minds. "I know it sounds crazy," she told the group during their weekly meeting in an abandoned subway station, "but last night I saw them preparing something new. Big machines that look like giant flowers. They are building them in all the major cities." Sunja had been studying the atmospheric changes the aliens were making. If HFY is right, those machines might be the final stage of terraforming. They would release chemicals that make the air poisonous to humans but perfect for alien life. The group fell silent. If this was true, they had very little time left. "How long do we have?" asked Donghyun. "Based on the current rate of atmospheric change, maybe 8 months, Sunja replied. "Less if they activate those machines." Taemin stood up and began pacing. "Then we stop hiding and start attacking. We cannot wait any longer." Over the next 3 weeks, they planned their biggest operation yet. The target was a Vorthak processing center in downtown Seoul, where hundreds of humans were being converted into alien servants. But this time, they would not just rescue people. They would destroy the entire facility. The plan required perfect timing and extreme emotional control. Sunja had discovered that different emotions created different types of interference. Fear disrupted their communications. Anger overloaded their weapons. Love and grief could shut down their control systems completely. "The key is intensity," Sunja explained to the assault team. "Mild emotions do nothing. You must feel as strongly as possible, or the interference will not be powerful enough." They practiced for days, learning to call up their deepest feelings on command. HFY was their strongest weapon. Her grief for her lost parents was so powerful it could disable alien equipment from 50 meters away. But using her ability left her weak and sick for hours afterward. The night of the attack, 42 humans approached the processing center from 6 different directions. Taemin led the main assault team, while Donghyun and Sung-ho commanded the 2 flanking groups. Their job was to create maximum emotional chaos while a smaller team planted explosives inside the building. Everything went wrong in the first 5 minutes. The hunter units were waiting for them. As soon as the first wave of emotional interference hit the processing center, alarms began sounding throughout the district. Purple beams of alien weapons lit up the darkness as Vorthak soldiers poured out of hidden positions. "It was a trap," Sung Ho shouted over the radio. "They knew we were coming." But Tai Min had expected this possibility. "Execute backup plan. Everyone focus on your strongest emotions. Do not stop, no matter what happens." The battle that followed was unlike anything the humans had experienced before. As waves of grief, rage, and desperation washed over the area, the alien technology began failing in spectacular ways. Weapons systems exploded, communication networks crashed. Even the massive processing center began shaking as its control systems overloaded. HFY was in the center of it all, her mind somehow connecting with every human in the battle. Her emotional state amplified everyone else's feelings, creating a feedback loop that grew stronger and stronger. The aliens stumbled through the chaos, their cybernetic implants sparking and smoking. But the effort was destroying HFY. Blood ran from her nose and ears as she pushed her ability beyond its limits. "I can see their ships," she gasped to Tai Min. "All of them, connected. If I push harder, I can reach them all." "No," Tai Min shouted. "It will kill you." "Maybe," HFY replied with a weak smile. "But it might save everyone else." Before Tai Min could stop her, the 16-year-old girl closed her eyes and reached out with her mind toward the alien ships hovering over the city. The feedback loop exploded outward like a shockwave of pure human emotion. Every Vorthak within 10 kilometers collapsed as their implants overloaded. Their ships began falling from the sky, crashing into buildings and streets. The processing center exploded in a brilliant flash of light that could be seen across the entire city. HFY fell to the ground, unconscious but alive. The immediate area was completely silent, except for the sound of burning alien wreckage. "Did we win?" asked Yuna, who was helping Sunja check on the wounded. Tai Min looked around at the destruction they had caused. Dozens of alien craft were down. The processing center was gone. But he knew this was just the beginning. "We proved something tonight," he said to the surviving members of his team. "We proved that human emotion is not just a disruption to them, it is a weapon they cannot defend against." Sunja was studying readings from a captured alien device. "The interference patterns are still spreading," she reported. "Whatever HFY did, it is affecting alien technology across the entire peninsula." In the distance, they could see more alien ships approaching from other cities. The Vorthak would respond to this attack with overwhelming force. But for the first time since the invasion began, humans had struck a blow that the aliens would remember. "Signal all resistance groups," Tai Min ordered. "Tell them what we learned here tonight. Human emotions are our strongest weapon, but they work best when we fight together." As the first light of dawn appeared on the horizon, Tai Min helped carry the unconscious HFY to safety. The girl had given them something precious, proof that humans could not only fight back, but win. The war was far from over, but the balance had finally begun to shift. 4 months after the Seoul victory, Tai Min stood in a hidden bunker deep beneath the mountains outside the city. Around him, dozens of captured alien communication devices hummed with activity. For the first time since the invasion, humans were talking to each other across the entire planet. The victory at the processing center had changed everything. News of the battle spread through hidden networks around the world. Resistance groups that had been fighting alone suddenly realized they were part of something much larger. More importantly, they learned that human emotions could be weaponized against alien technology. "Contact established with resistance cells in Tokyo," reported Jin Woo, a street-smart young man who had become their communications expert. They confirmed similar emotional interference effects. Japanese fighters destroyed 3 alien outposts last week using coordinated grief attacks. Tai Min nodded as he studied the global map on their main screen. Red dots marked active resistance cells, while blue lines showed communication links between groups. What had started as a few dozen survivors in Seoul was now a network spanning 6 continents. What about the Americans? Asked Yuna, who was working on improving their alien tech interfaces. Chicago and New York are coordinating operations, Jinwoo replied. They report that different emotional states work better for different people. Americans seem to channel anger most effectively, while European groups use fear and determination. Sunja looked up from her research station. This makes sense. Cultural differences in how emotions are expressed create different interference patterns. We are not just fighting with human feelings, but with the full spectrum of human cultural experience. The diversity was their strength, but coordination was becoming their biggest challenge. Every region had developed different tactics based on their local circumstances. The Chinese used meditation techniques to focus large groups into synchronized emotional states. The Africans had discovered that tribal music and dancing could amplify emotional interference. The Europeans were experimenting with combining multiple emotions simultaneously. We need to bring everyone together for one massive coordinated strike, Taemin said during their weekly strategy meeting. The aliens are adapting to our local attacks. They are building new defenses, deploying hunter units in larger numbers. Hei-1, who had recovered from her ordeal in Seoul, was reviewing intelligence reports from around the world. Her ability to sense alien activities had grown stronger, but so had the cost of using it. Each time she reached out with her mind, she aged a little. Dark circles surrounded her eyes and her hands shook when she was tired. The big machines are almost finished, she announced quietly. The ones that will poison our air. I can see them in my dreams. Massive towers in every major city ready to activate. How long do we have? Taemin asked. 6 weeks, maybe less. They are just waiting for the right atmospheric conditions. Sunja had been working day and night on a solution. I think I know how to stop them, but it will require perfect timing and coordination between every resistance cell on Earth. She activated a holographic display showing the alien communication network. Their entire operation is controlled from orbital command ships. These ships coordinate everything from terraforming to military operations. If we can overload their central systems with simultaneous emotional interference from every continent, we might be able to shut down the entire network. The plan was ambitious beyond anything they had attempted before. It would require thousands of people focusing their strongest emotions at exactly the same moment. The timing had to be perfect, because the aliens would only be vulnerable for a few minutes before their backup systems activated. The emotional pulse needs to originate from population centers, Sunja continued. The more humans participating, the stronger the interference. But that means our people will be exposed in the most dangerous locations. Over the next 3 weeks, they coordinated with resistance leaders around the world. Each group would need to build amplification devices using captured alien technology. These devices would focus and strengthen human emotional energy, but they were dangerous to operate. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Kyung-ho, the elderly professor, had been studying ancient meditation techniques from Korean temples. Our ancestors understood something about the power of focused emotion, he explained to the group. They used breathing exercises and mental discipline to channel their life force into pure energy. Can you teach this to others? Taemin asked. Yes, but there is a cost. The technique requires people to put their entire life force into the emotional pulse. Some may not survive the process. The room fell silent as everyone understood what this meant. They were asking people to possibly sacrifice their lives for the chance to save humanity. We need volunteers, Taemin said finally. People who understand the risk and choose to take it anyway. The response was overwhelming. When they sent out the call for volunteers, thousands of people from every resistance cell offered to participate. Parents who had lost their children, soldiers who had watched their units die, doctors who had been unable to save their patients. Each had personal reasons for wanting to strike back at the aliens, but the aliens were not passive. As the resistance prepared for their coordinated strike, Vorthak forces began their own final preparations. Massive orbital platforms descended from space, taking positions above major cities. These platforms carried weapons capable of destroying entire city blocks with single shots. They know something is coming, Haiwan reported after one of her dream visions. They are moving their most important equipment to the orbital stations. If we fail to stop them in the first attempt, they will destroy every major population center on Earth. The stakes could not be higher. Success would free humanity and save their planet. Failure would mean the extinction of their species. 3. Days before the coordinated attack, Tae-min received a message that changed everything. Communications had been established with a group of scientists hiding in Antarctica. They had discovered something incredible in the ice. There are ruins under the glacier, the message read. Ancient technology that responds to human consciousness. We think Earth has been invaded before, and previous humans found a way to fight back. Yuna was excited by this news. If we can combine ancient human technology with what we have learned about emotional warfare, we might have a chance to do more than just survive. We might be able to win permanently. But there was no time to investigate further. The terraforming machines were almost ready to activate, and the resistance had only one chance to stop them. As Tae-min prepared for the final battle, he looked around at his team. These people had become his family over the past months. Tomorrow, some of them might die in the attempt to save their world. Whatever happens, he told them, remember that we are fighting for more than just survival. We are fighting to prove that humanity deserves to exist, that our emotions, our diversity, our stubborn refusal to give up, makes us worthy of this planet. The next morning would bring either victory or extinction. But tonight, for the first time in almost a year, Tae-min felt something he had almost forgotten: hope. The day of humanity's final gamble arrived with dark clouds covering the sky above Seoul. Tae-min stood on the roof of a damaged skyscraper, watching alien orbital platforms position themselves over the city. In 12 hours, the terraforming machines would activate simultaneously across the globe. After that, humans would have only days before the atmosphere became poisonous. Around him, 37 volunteers prepared the emotional amplification device that Yuna and Sunja had built from captured alien technology. The machine looked like a twisted metal flower with crystalline petals that glowed with soft blue light. Each petal was connected to a headset that volunteers would wear during the emotional pulse. Global coordination check, Jinwoo announced from his communication station. All resistance cells reporting ready. Tokyo has 43 volunteers. New York has 51. London has 38. We have confirmation from every major city. On Earth, Tae-min felt the weight of responsibility pressing down on him. Thousands of people around the world were preparing to risk their lives based on a plan that had never been tested on this scale. If they failed, humanity would be extinct within a week. Hae-won approached him, moving slowly like an old woman, despite being only 17. Her abilities had grown stronger over the months, but using them was destroying her body. I can see the orbital command ships clearly now, she said in a weak voice. 6 massive vessels hidden behind the moon. They control everything on Earth through quantum communication links. Can we reach them? Tae-min asked. Yes, but only if every amplifier on Earth fires at exactly the same moment. The emotional pulse needs to hit their quantum network all at once, or their defensive systems will block it. Kyung-ho was teaching the volunteers the ancient breathing techniques that would help them channel their life force into pure emotional energy. Remember, he told each person, you must think of the moment that caused you the most pain, the greatest love, or the deepest anger. Hold that feeling in your mind and let it grow until it fills your entire being. Sunja monitored the atmospheric readings on her instruments. The terraforming machines are warming up. Preliminary chemical release has begun in 3 cities. We have maybe 6 hours before the process becomes irreversible. As the sun reached its highest point, reports began coming in from around the world. The aliens had detected the resistance preparations and were responding with massive force. Orbital platforms were firing on suspected amplifier locations. Hunter units were attacking human positions in every major city. Beijing is under heavy attack, Jinwoo reported. They lost 12 volunteers, but the amplifier is still operational. Sydney reports Vorthak ground forces moving on their position, came another message. They are requesting immediate emotional support. This was the coordination Tae-min had hoped for. All cells with operational amplifiers provide covering interference for Sydney. Focus on fear and confusion patterns. Around the globe, Resistance fighters began generating emotional interference to help their comrades in Australia. The effect was immediate. Sydney reported that attacking Vorthak forces had stopped their advance and were stumbling around in apparent confusion. But the aliens adapted quickly. New hunter units began arriving that seemed resistant to emotional interference. These creatures wore different armor and moved with mechanical precision even when surrounded by human emotional chaos. They have learned to shield their cybernetic implants, Sunja observed. We need stronger interference than we have ever generated before. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Wu Jin, the mechanic who had been with them since the beginning, made a discovery while maintaining the amplification device. The alien technology in our machine is resonating with something, he announced excitedly. There are signals coming, from underground, from all around the world. Sunja checked her instruments and confirmed what Wu Jin had found. The ancient ruins the Antarctic team discovered. They are not just in Antarctica. There are similar structures buried under every major city. They are all connecting to our amplifiers. The previous humans who fought the aliens, Kyung-ho said with wonder. They left us weapons. With 2 hours remaining before the terraforming process became irreversible, the ancient human technology began awakening around the world. The resistance amplifiers were no longer just focusing human emotions. They were connecting to a global network that had been waiting underground for thousands of years. Haewon's eyes suddenly went wide with understanding. I can see it all now. Every ancient site, every buried machine, every human who ever fought these aliens. We are not the first. Earth has been invaded many times and humans have always found a way to win. How? Taemin asked urgently. Unity, Haewon replied simply. Every time the secret was getting all humans to act as one mind, one heart, one purpose. The aliens can defeat armies and nations, but they cannot defeat the unified will of an entire species. As the moment of the coordinated pulse approached, Taemin looked around at his volunteers. Each person held memories of loss, love, hope, and determination. Soon they would pour all of those feelings into the ancient network that connected every human settlement on Earth. Global synchronization in 60 seconds, Jinwoo announced. All cells confirm ready. Taemin put on his headset and felt the immediate connection to the amplification device. Through it, he could sense the emotions of people around the world. Grief from parents who had lost children. Rage from soldiers who had watched their units die. Love from people fighting for those they wanted to protect. 30 seconds, Jinwoo counted down. The ancient technology hummed beneath their feet, resonating with human consciousness in ways that the alien machines could never understand or duplicate. 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Execute. Around the world. Thousands of humans released their strongest emotions simultaneously. The pulse that emerged was unlike anything that had ever existed. It was not just interference with alien technology. It was the combined will of an entire species, refusing to surrender. The effect was immediate and devastating. Every Vorthak within Earth's atmosphere collapsed as their cybernetic implants overloaded beyond repair. The orbital platforms exploded in brilliant flashes of light. Even the hidden command ships behind the moon went silent as the emotional pulse reached them through their quantum communication network. Haewon collapsed as the pulse completed, but she was smiling. It worked, she whispered. They are all gone. Every alien ship, every control system, every terraforming machine. The network reached them all. In the sudden silence that followed, Taemin realized that the alien ships were falling from the sky like metal rain. The constant humming that had filled the air for almost a year was finally gone. Around the world, humans emerged from hiding to see their sky clear of alien vessels for the first time since the invasion began. The terraforming machines had shut down permanently. The atmosphere would slowly return to normal. 5 years later, Taemin stood in the same spot where the final battle had been fought. Seoul had been rebuilt, stronger and more beautiful than before. The ancient human technology had been studied and integrated into their society, creating defenses that would protect Earth from future invasions. Haewon had survived the pulse, though it had aged her decades in moments. She now led the global monitoring system that watched for signs of new alien threats. The unity forged during the resistance had become permanent, with humans working together as never before in their history. Do you think they will come back? Yuna asked as they watched children playing in the restored parks. Taemin smiled as he watched the laughter and joy of free humans. Let them try. They will find that we are ready for them. And they will learn again that humanity's greatest strength is not our technology or our weapons. It is our refusal to give up, no matter how impossible the odds may seem. The war was over, but the spirit that had won it lived on in every human heart.